Hi, it's the beginning of July and I wanted to give a little tour of what's growing in the garden, what's finished up, how things are looking. We've definitely been through a lot of heat already, so come take a look at how the garden is growing. This is the area surrounding the chicken coop. Toward the end of May, I took out a bunch of weeds and laid down some paper and compost and soil, garden soil, and planted it up. And so we've got zucchini plants on that side. I love it now. No more weeds around the chicken coop. This is a melon, and on the other side is a butternut squash. So come take a look at this melon. Madhu Ras honey melon. I think it's coming out of India. There we go. Shining star of this melon plant so far. So that was planted end of May, and so this plant did thrive and survive through all that heat we had in June and now into July. It's flowering, it's getting plenty of bees, and has set on a couple of cute little fruits. So there's one plant that is tolerating our heat. These zucchinis I also planted at the very end of May, and looks like I've got some flowers on it, but no zucchini quite yet. And then the butternut squash has also set on fruit. Look at that plant. It's got beautiful flowers. And there's one butternut squash down there on the ground. And there's another. So that's looking really good. So there's just wanted to show that because sometimes we think here in the desert, if we missed planting in April, oh, I can't plant a garden. But yeah, this is an end of May planting. Let's take a look at some of the other plants that have been around the garden a little longer than that. There's that famous Swiss chard that keeps on going. It doesn't seem to matter if it's cold or hot. That Swiss chard is a champion here. I love these. That is a Henry Wild sunflower. Pretty. These are the purple Cherokee tomatoes, and I am loving them. They are so yummy. This tomato, the purple Cherokee, has a lot of flesh inside. You know, some tomatoes inside they're pulpy and seedy, and this one seems just filled with flesh with some seeds. And we have a little bit of sun damage on some of them. If you see this right there, not to be mistaken for blossom end rot, which will happen at the bottom of a tomato down here. Blossom end rot will happen down here, and it looks very similar. And if it's down here, sort of flatten, a change of color, and that indicates a nutrient deficiency of some kind in your soil. Sometimes calcium is what people amend their soil with when that happens. But this is due to the sunshine. That's sunburn. And we've got a couple. You'll notice the one right next to it doesn't have that, and I think that's just because it has just a little more coverage from exposure to the sun, and then this one's more open. So that's why on the same plant you'll find some that don't have any sun damage at all. It's because the plant itself is shading it. But then everywhere where the canopy of the plant is open, look at that. Look how gross that is. That's because sun is just pouring down. We have a lot of hot sunny days. So that's sunburnt tomatoes. This one, no sunburn damage. Look how pretty that is. That's because it's tucked inside the plant, covered up with its own leaves. I gotta show you these Ajvarsky peppers over there. They're ripe and ready. I've been eating them. I love them sauteed up. They are so tasty. And I will probably make room for them in my garden for years to come. I said that once about Marconis. Red Marconis are delicious, but they ripened so late in the season, at least for me, that I'm enjoying eating these peppers earlier in the season rather than having to wait. Some broccoli. This one already had a head. And when broccoli already has a head and you harvest it, it will then send up little florets. So there's a little broccoli floret. And you would just eat the stem, eat the floret. You can eat the broccoli leaves. I sauteed up some broccoli leaves with breakfast the other day, and that was very good. There's some more Ajvarsky peppers tucked back here. And these ones are tucked enough that they don't have sun damage on them. So it got enough sun that it produced a pepper, and not too much sun that it got a bunch of sun damage. Let me show you a sun damaged pepper. These same 4, they look good on the other side where the morning sun hits them, but then on this side there, that's sun damage. So I'm still going to cut it off and eat the other side, but that's because our afternoon sun is hitting it at this direction. Hot, hot all day sun. So sometimes when we get a plant and the seed package says plant it in full sun, out here in the desert, it's not a bad idea to cast a little bit of shade on our, quote unquote full sun plants. Cucumbers are looking about done. This one I'm leaving on the vine because I want it for seed. So it's past when I would want to eat it. This yellow, big old yellow cucumber. There's a cucumber plant that's definitely done. And then the Yod Pha is just filled with bug holes. I think I'm going to keep some of these plants in the ground and see if they'll kind of reawaken when the weather drops in degrees of temperature. We're getting 115 degree days out here, and so some things are thriving and some things want to be done. Trees are doing fine. It's our pomegranate tree, and we wait to harvest that until fall. There's some more Yod Pha. Not quite as buggy as the other area. Between the 2 pomegranate trees, I had stuffed an eggplant, and last we looked at it, it didn't have any eggplant on it. It was just sort of trying to survive, but it did get a flower. So let's take a look. Yes, there we go. So eggplant 1, 2, a little bit whiter in color than the ones that grow in full sun. 3. Oh, yep, there's a 4th one. Okay, so answer 2, can an eggplant grow in quite a bit of shade and produce fruit? Yes. So that's another one of those full sun plants, but it's doing fine tucked under the canopy of these 2 trees. On the other hand, I have pepper plants really tucked under the trees, and it did not fruit. This one did. This one I got one, but then back here, really hidden, no fruit. So pepper plants in full shade, no fruit. Partial shade, yes, it fruited. And then full sun, sunburn damage. So there you go, if that helps anybody decide how and where to put their plants.